Hello guys, Bulletproof here. So I've come across this quote by JJ Redick stating that LeBron James will be considered the GOAT 50 to 70 years from now, and to be honest, I disagree. Now, I don't know when this quote was said exactly. I've come across it a few days ago. I didn't see a video, I didn't really see his reasoning. I'm not even sure if it's true. I've just come across it, and I kind of disagree. This has nothing to do with who I think the GOAT is now. That's another topic for another day. Maybe LeBron is the GOAT, but I don't see it. I don't see the case for LeBron lasting 70 years, to be honest. Not even 50. I don't even think it lasts 30 years, to be honest. And the reason being that when you look at the pattern of these GOAT talks across different fields, not just in basketball or even in sports, but generally speaking, it always leans towards peak. Not longevity, but peak and influence. So, for example, a lot of people call Daniel Day-Lewis the greatest actor ever, and that usually refers to his peak, not longevity, because he didn't do that many movies. You'll see people call Tupac the greatest rapper ever. Again, he didn't last that long, unfortunately. So when we see the GOAT debate in other areas revolving around peak, and even in sports, like before the era of Messi and Ronaldo, like you had Diego Maradona, who did not have the best longevity at all. He was considered the GOAT. There were a lot of people who had longer careers than Maradona, but he was considered the GOAT because of his peak and influence and impact. He had that aura. He was considered the GOAT for that, and that usually, we were talking about Tupac now. He has that aura, he has that influence, he's still relevant today. So when we talk about relevance, MJ is still more relevant than LeBron. He's still more internationally recognizable. He still sells more shoes. He has the brand. He has more impact. So when it comes to 50 to 70 years, we've seen Jordan remain as relevant that many years later, like 3 decades later, 4 decades later. So I don't see that going away. And when it comes to LeBron, I don't know if he will have that kind of transcendence. He might, but at the level of MJ, I don't think so. And if we're talking about the other reasons for LeBron being called the GOAT, like I said, longevity usually doesn't come first. It's used for LeBron because he's the face of the league now, but usually that doesn't transcend. That case doesn't transcend. And also the evolution aspect. When people talk about Jordan played a weaker competition and the game has evolved and stuff like that, that will not transcend because that argument will be used against LeBron by the next generation who did not watch him live when the game evolves again. And that always happens with every generation. So every generation calls the previous generations weaker. So we always see that as a pattern. So if the impact and influence are not as transcendent as MJ, and the other arguments like the evolution are going to transport to the next guy because that's how it works. It's the arguments evolve along with the game, along with the area we're debating in. So again, I don't see it. I just don't see it. Before LeBron, who had the best longevity? It was Karl Malone. No one considered him even a top 10 player. So longevity wasn't really the end-all, be-all of anything, really. LeBron is the one who validated the longevity aspect of it. And I think it will die with him because when the league starts advertising someone else, it will go back to peak. And when people bring up evolution 20 years from now, not even 50 or 70, I think they will be saying, oh, we're done with the 2010s, the way we're saying now we're done with the 90s. Same thing. I don't see that case transcending 50 to 7 years, to be honest. I feel like Jordan's case is more transcendent, which is why he's still debated now with LeBron 40 years later, 30 years later. And I think the next guy, not the next as in like the next 5 years, but I think like 10, 15 years from now, the next guy will be compared to MJ as well, not to LeBron. And if compared to LeBron, people will start using LeBron's arguments against him. The next generation can use these arguments against him because, again, these things move on to the next player. They just do. That's the case with every aspect of it. When people talk about evolution, it always moves to the next player. It will not stay with LeBron. No one will be saying LeBron's era was the toughest era 40 years from now. No way. So yeah, that's my thought on this. And let me hear what you guys think. Do you think LeBron's case will transcend all of these years more than Jordan's? And do you think it will overshadow the next 2 or 3 generations even? Not just like 50 years, but I mean 2 decades. What do you guys think? Let me hear it.